My name's Dakai. I'm an AI professor. I've been doing AI research for 40 years. I literally started my PhD in AI at Berkeley in 1984, of all years. If you know, how many people here have used anything like Google Translate or Microsoft Translate? Okay, so I pioneered those. Basically my entire research career since being a young PhD student at Berkeley, fighting against back then logic rule-based AI, saying this is never going to work. We need to have like machine learning, neural network, statistical optimization type of models, and I took that on to pioneer all sorts of language models over the last 35 years or whatever. And so this is my third AI hype cycle. This one's bigger than the previous ones. I think each one is going to continue to be. I've also been working on AI ethics, governance, safety, policy, and especially public awareness for 10 years. I was one of the 8 people Google named to its inaugural AI Ethics Council the year before COVID. And I sit on the board of one of the 2 think tanks that drafted all the key passages of the AI Act in the European Union. So I reviewed that stuff. I wish they had taken my feedback. But I'm still actively engaging on all fronts in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. I was recruited 33 years ago as one of the founding professors for Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, back when it was British. And so I still hold the joint appointment there, as well as at Berkeley at the International Computer Science Institute. I have a pretty international overview of AI ethics, governance, through all the summits, meetings, think tanks that I work with. My big concern is that despite the fact that finally, now for the last 2 years, everybody finally is actually paying attention to AI and society issues, that all the wrong questions are still being asked. And that, well, more specifically, we are not asking the right questions. The right questions are the ones that are existential, but we keep sweeping under the rug. And that is why, and this room, you guys, I'm so happy to share this with you. It's a privileged moment. 10 years of work in my book, which is dropping officially June 3rd from MIT Press and Penguin Random House, about the true questions in AI ethics and society and humanity that we need to be asking, based not upon the metaphors that AIs are either slaves or AIs are gods, and potentially malevolent gods, but rather AIs are our children. And how well are you doing at parenting? And there's a whole lot of dysfunction coming from that, and we are not talking about that, and it is urgent. And that is why, fresh off the press, I literally just touched this for the first time 20 minutes ago. Oh, today is the last day, second day of free, that you can get 25% discount if you pre-order this on Barnes & Noble.
You have consequentialist ethics, which in plain language means outcome-based ethics, right? And then you have virtue ethics. It is pretty obvious, be virtuous. And we have forgotten, by and large, I believe, the last 2. We have seen so many cases in here in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, of companies who are just barely trying to follow the letter of the law, and barely saying, oh, I didn't break a law, so I'm ethical. And this is something that we have forgotten. No, the consequences matter. The outcomes matter. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, because you can't hide behind the rule of just the letter of the law in order to be ethical. There's virtue involved, and we need to see a lot more of that. And I believe there needs to be some kind of liability we need to start talking about in terms of the outcomes, because there is no way. Isaac Asimov proved it decades ago already with his entertaining stories of how the 3 laws of robotics are always in conflict and they break down and it doesn't work. It's upsetting. Rules alone don't work. They're to catch the most egregious abuses, and of course you need them, but you can't only do that if you want ethical AI. Societies held together by all the unspoken norms, all the unwritten conventions, our social conventions, our value system, our mindsets. When it comes to ethical AI, that is what we need to be teaching. our AIs, our artificial children, because otherwise we'll have a society where everybody walks around, including the AIs, barely obeying the letter of the law. What happens to that society? It will fall apart immediately. Stuff, right? So that's when I have to recommend.
You gave the point there, this point around the space of just being ethical AI and AI policy and regulation, but about yourself, work you do, and how your work intersects with ethical AI consideration. That's great work.
First of all, thank you, everyone, for coming. And it's a pretty busy county, and especially first of all, a lot of things going on. So those who made it to this forum, that's really great. Aspect. I mean, I'm Ash. I was the runner of Stable Fight. Focused on the AI's application that benefits humanity overall. There's a lot of things that's going on. A lot of bad talks about the application of AI. Good talks, but in terms of our hard investments that we have done, but the result work is.
Thank you, Ash. With Anton?
My name is Anton. I used to work at XAI for almost a year and a half, almost a year. Before that, I was working on a couple of projects with GPUs and kernels and CUDA. Right now, I started this company a month back after quitting my job at XAI. We're building the brains for robots. So we believe that there is, in the past 2 years, the physics of the robots or the hardware of the robots has greatly improved. Now we are entering into the phase of physical AI, and that's the brain, the software side of things. And as United States, we'll be supplying the intelligence for the world's robots. So you can see a lot of robots coming up from China, different parts of the world. But do you want to be an intelligence up in the amount? We'll want to talk more about the ethics that we are considering when building the brain for robots.